And I would never call myself a flamenco player by any means, because that's a whole study, that's a lifestyle, that's a dedication. Like that's like being a blues player. Like I am a blues player. I've been doing it long enough, but flamenco. So the fact that I can dabble in it, I feel very satisfied with. But I was, I'm actually, if I have to go to Spain and play this, I might freak out. You know what I mean?
Hello, people of the world. Welcome back to another episode of Sam Sessions. We're here in the Gay Room of South Austin Music, and to my right is a very special guest. We got Sue Foley today. How you feeling today, Sue?
I'm good, thank you.
It's good to have you in here. Been really excited about this one. Of course, I've seen you around the shop, but always been excited to kind of get to know a little bit more about you.
Great.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about, first order of business really, is congratulations. Just released that album there.
A new album, yeah. A new album.
Super
Solo
excited
acoustic.
about that.
Thank you.
How does it feel to have it out and done?
It feels great. I mean, it's always it's interesting, when you do an album, because you work up the material, and this material took me years to learn because I was learning all these different guitar styles. And we'll talk about that, but it was the guitar styles of pioneering women guitar players, but it crossed a lot of genres. So it took me a lot of time to learn, to get the material under my belt, and then to get into the studio, to get it recorded. And actually, for a lot of the material, I had to road test it, because that's another thing about playing stuff is it once you play it at a gig, you play it in your house, then you go onto a gig and you realize you freeze, or you know what I mean? You get in your head, or you're like, so a lot of these songs have been sticking live. So I'm finally comfortable with them live.
Nice.
And I got them in the studio, and it's like a huge relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
A huge relief.
You're super known for the pink Paisley Telecaster. Is this your first album with the flamenco guitar?
It's my first whole album with a flamenco guitar, yeah. I mean, I've dabbled with flamenco guitars and nylon strings for years, and I've been fascinated with them my whole career. But this is the first time I've actually just played the whole album, yeah.
In your own words, it's kind of your tribute to female pioneers of guitar.
Yeah.
Is this something you've been wanting to do for a long time, or was it kind of a fresh idea when it came about?
Well, it's been coming for a long time, because like I said, it's taken me, almost a decade of practice. Like,
that's crazy.
It is crazy when you think of it. It's like, wow. So I'm kind of patting myself on the back right now that it's released. And I'm like,
yeah.
Thank God. Because, I struggled with a lot of the material for a long time. And you realize how much practice it takes to learn stuff, And so, it's taken a long time.
Yeah.
About a decade.
Yeah. Being 24, I can't imagine putting a decade into anything. So it's pretty great. That's really, really impressive.
Yeah, thanks.
So the first song, "Oh Babe, It Ain't No Lie," that's a Elizabeth Cotten song originally. She was a left-handed player that played right-handed guitar upside down.
Yeah.
Right? Did that have any complications as far as?
It did, absolutely. Because I make a joke about this when I do the songs live. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like, I turn the guitar over. I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And when you watch her videos, you kind of have to So there are people that, and the cool thing about YouTube now, of course, and it's a double-edged sword, because there's so much stuff on YouTube, of course, that every guitar player knows this now. Like, you can find anything. But you can also find bad interpretations of stuff, where somebody will go, here's how to play this. And it's like, that's not it. You know? So I went through a bit of that with her, and I watched her videos like this, and
had to go see a chiropractor a couple times.
Slowed them down. And I never try to get exactly like a person, but I try to get close, their essence of who they are musically, I'm not like a super detailed technician, let's say.
I can't imagine that the selection process for which songs you were going to cover was super easy. Did you find anything along the way that made it a little bit easier to pick and choose?
Well, I wanted to, I didn't want this just to be an interpretation of like I said, a technical interpretation or a robotic interpretation of here's the Piedmont fingerpicking, here is the Carter scratch, here is this. Although I do those styles, I wanted it to have part of me into it. So I needed songs that resonated with me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, I think when you cover somebody's material, you have to think about that. Like, where does this song sit with me personally? As a blues artist, I've thought about this my whole career because I'm from Canada, I'm female, and I wanted to play, Robert Johnson or something. And this is a guy from Mississippi, who played in the Delta in the 1930s. And it was a different world, and he's a different person. So you think, well, first of all, what songs, what lyrics resonate with me personally? And
yeah,
it's important when you do that, you want to be honest. So when you're interpreting somebody else's material, you got to be able to make it yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that means something, at least lyrically, if it's a lyrical piece, the lyrics have to be true to you.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely does.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite songs are always the ones that I find some kind of relatability in. So I can imagine it'd help on the other end too.
Yeah, like I'm not going to sing about picking cotton or, working on the railroad or anything because,
Yeah, there's only so much.
hard labor in prison or anything like that. It's like,
Okay.
one old woman low in this town keep on telling her lies on me. Wish to my soul that old woman would die. Keep on telling her lies on me. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. 'Cause this life I'm living is very high. Been all around this whole round world, honey, I just got back today. Work all week, honey, I bring it on to you. Honey, babe, what more can I do? Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. 'Cause this life I'm living is very high. Been all around this whole round world, honey, I just got back today. Work all week, honey, I bring it on to you.
Do you have a favorite song, like a personal favorite on the album?
I really like "Oh Baby Don't Know a Lie" by Elizabeth Cotton. I just think that's a super fun song to play, and I
Mhm.
love where it sits with me vocally. There's learning Romance in A minor, which was a classical piece, which was my um, tribute to Ida Presti, a French classical musician. That
Mhm.
was just really that and Malagueña was just really satisfying to be able to learn
Yeah, sure.
because it was a real challenge for me as a blues player to step into those shoes as saying, okay, now I'm playing classical. I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
that seems out there, but
Did you have
mhm.
doubts along the way? Being like, like you said, you're a blues musician and you're exploring all these different fields along the way. Were there times where you were like, I'm not sure that maybe this is the thing I should be doing, or were you pretty confident from the start?
I can't say I was super confident. It was a study. And to be honest, some of it's tied in with a PhD dissertation I'm doing.
Mm.
So it's actually a piece of my schoolwork. So
Wow.
I was able to just take that perspective, like, as this is a study.
Mhm.
Okay. But because I'm pragmatic and I'm older and I'm an older student, I'm a mature student, I'm able to take everything I learn and go, well, I'm going to apply this to my professional career. I'm not just going to waste this knowledge.
Yeah.
But stepping into flamenco those are big shoes to step into. And
Mhm.
and I would never call myself a flamenco player by any means because that's a whole study, that's a lifestyle, that's a dedication. Like that's like being a blues player. Like I am a blues player. I've been doing it long enough, but flamenco. So the fact that I can dabble in it, I feel very satisfied with. But I was I'm actually, if I have to go to Spain and play this, I might freak out. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, whoa. But if I play it next to a blues piece or a finger picking piece, then people can take it in context and go,
Mhm.
okay, well, from that context, it's actually not bad.
From what I've heard, it's amazing. I'm a super fan of all of them, and I can't imagine the kind of like burden and trial it was to get that right. So it's pretty impressive, just bare bones impressive.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's a lot of techniques, a lot of right hand techniques that I'm applying on this album,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been fascinated with right hand technique. So there's so much you can do, and a lot of that does come from classical. But when you apply like a classical technique or a flamenco technique into blues, that's really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take something that you apply on a nylon string onto a Telecaster, that is really cool too. And I think this is how I'm kind of finding my way, my own way with guitar.
Yeah.
My own voice, I guess.
So how about, was there a song on the album that was like that came to you the easiest or the most natural maybe?
Probably the Memphis Minnie stuff,
Yeah.
because I've been playing her stuff since I was 16, and Memphis Minnie was such an important person for me when I was 16, and I knew I was going to be a blues guitar player. Had no idea. Like I said, I'm from Canada. I was living in Ottawa. I was a young teenage girl, and I'm like, how is this going to work? Like, I'm going to be a blues player, really? With all these guys, like, and all the albums I bought were like BB King and Lightning Hopkins and Muddy Waters and T-Bone Walker. And it was all these guys, and I love them all and I emulate them all and play all their stuff. But then when I discovered Minnie, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. There was a woman doing this in the 30s
Mm,
and 40s, and she was playing lead guitar. So if she could do it, somehow I could figure it out. I could fit in. Felt like okay, I can fit into this world. And
yeah.
so playing Minnie stuff, I've been playing it since I was a teenager. And
What made you choose the blues?
the blues was just, I went to my first blues show. I discovered blues through the Rolling Stones primarily.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, backtracking in my mind, I realized I'd been hearing blues my whole life because my brothers were into Zeppelin
Mm,
and ZZ Top and Black Sabbath and all these blues-based hard rock bands, but they were all
mm-hmm.
blues-based. So, but the Stones was really how I found out about Muddy Waters, Slim Harpo, and Jimmy Reed, and then I would just go listen to them and go, "Wow, that's weird." But then when I saw blues live in a club, that was sealed the deal.
Okay.
Yeah. There was something about the vibe and the feeling of everybody in the
Mm-hmm.
crowd connecting with the people on stage and everybody sort of taking part in the experience. and the immediacy of it, the fact that it wasn't like, it's not like rock stardom where everybody seems so far away from you. These people seem like they're almost on your level, and
Yeah.
and their message felt like really, I felt really connected
Mm-hmm.
to that. So that just changed everything for me. Yeah. Blues artists they're humans. They're not like it's not that they're not icons or, obviously the greatest musicians I've ever seen are blues musicians.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel like they're on the level. They're on the human level with you. They're not
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, unreachable.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born in Louisiana. I was raised in Algiers. Everywhere I've been, the people all said there ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. Well, I believe I'll get married, ooh Lord, and settle down. I first left home, I stopped in Tennessee. Everybody was begging, come and stay with me. There ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. Well, I'm gonna get a good man, ooh Lord, and settle down. Well, I was walking in the alley, my hand in my coat. A police started to shoot me, said it's something that I stole. There ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. Well, I'm gonna get a good man, ooh Lord, and settle down. Ah, yeah. Well, people on the highway, they walking and crying. Some is starving, some is dying. Ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. Well, I'm gonna get a good man, ooh Lord, and settle down. Now you can go to Hollywood, try to get on the scene. I will stay right here, eat my cherry bean. There ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. Well, I'm gonna get a good man, ooh Lord, and settle down. All right.
Besides the ones that you've already named, do you have any other major influences that you'd talk about?
Well, for instance, on this album, Ida Presti was a really important character. She was a classical artist. Charo, who was ended up being the first woman I ever saw play guitar, so I
Oh
tribute
wow.
her. That's why I'm playing Malagueña on the album. Um, but that's Charo's version. Um, if I'm just speaking of this album, Maybelle Carter.
Yeah.
Maybelle Carter really, I think she's such a huge figure in music, in American music. I just think she needs to be known about. I think people know about her in certain circles, but they don't realize the depth of her musicianship or the scope of her influence, how far.
Interesting.
So I wrote that song Maybelle's Guitar about Maybelle
Mm-hmm.
and about her influence. So yeah. But
Interesting.
but beyond that, I mean, I've listened to everybody. I love Jimmy Vaughn.
Yeah.
Living in Austin, getting to see Jimmy play. and knowing Jimmy, playing with him, playing with Billy Gibbons, that's really
Mm.
special. As far as guitar player goes, just those two guys are amazing. There's so many great ones here in Austin, especially. So.
How did you come to Austin for music exclusively?
I did. I came to Austin for blues
Mm-hmm.
exclusively, and
Mm-hmm.
I was brought here by Clifford Antone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he brought me down here when I was 21 and signed me to Antone's Records and put me on the road
No
and put me
kidding.
on stage with all my heroes at Antone's nightclub. And yeah, well, like those were I hate to say those were the days because I sound like I'm,
Yeah.
pining for the past, but I'm just glad I was there.
Yeah. Well,
Because
it's good to look back on and appreciate those times for sure.
Yeah, because so many people have passed on in blues now. So like we were
Mm-hmm.
able to see everybody at the time who was around, and there was so many people around at that time. So we were out on the road with them, and people like Coco Taylor or Lonnie Brooks or Albert Collins, you know,
Mm-hmm.
God, people, Snooks Eaglin, people that came up to the club here, Earl King, that lesser known people, Jimmy Rogers, but they all had a relationship with Austin and with Clifford. And because of that, Clifford would always bring in the young artists, the young people to make sure they had access to these people.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really important as far as building the fabric of the music scene here in Austin, I think. Yeah.
So you've done 15 albums now, is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
insane.
guess.
I know this is kind of like a who's your favorite kid question, but do you have personal favorite album or maybe just like
It's usually the most recent.
yeah.
But the last four I'm really proud of. I think they're all really great. They were all
Mm-hmm.
produced by Mike Flanagan here in Austin. And I think, from the latest one, Guitar Woman, the Live in Austin, Pinky's Blues, and the Ice Queen are all great albums. And I really like my first album, Young Girl Blues, that was put out on Antone's.
Mm-hmm.
But I have little favorite songs of everything I do, I have the one or two. And then, there's parts where you're like, ooh. Like, who's that? What was I doing? But,
Yeah.
you're growing and you're learning and stuff. So.
Well, it's been awesome to get to know a little bit more, and I look forward to hearing some of these songs off the most recent album. And
Cool.
it's a pleasure. Thanks for coming on and
Thanks
doing this.
so much. We love South Austin music.
South Austin music loves
yeah,
you, Sue.
Man.
We love you.
I'll
Awesome.
do Maybelle's guitar. This is one I wrote. This is about Maybelle Carter and her guitar. It launched a million dreams. It saved a million souls. In the midst of the Great Depression, it stood through the old Dust Bowl. In the darkest time, it was a shining light, constant as a northern star. Few things ever burned as bright as Maybelle's guitar.